Let us remind you what the big story is today. Is the first anniversary of the Investors and Exporters FX window that the Central Bank of Nigeria rolled out in April of 2017. Welcome everyone to Business Morning. Welcome our viewers in Nigeria and around the world. Let's get you started. I am Bosun Omofayo. Let's get from the big story. The budget 2018 was the status. That budget will not be passed this week as we all thought and as promised by the legislative arm. The deputy chairman, House Committee on Appropriations, Mr. Chris Azubuogu, according to the Punch newspaper, says he told the Punch newspaper that the work is at an advanced stage on the budget, but this week entirely is out of it for the budget to be passed. The House of Reps member, who, of course, the chairman of the appropriations, is the one who oversees the House of Reps. Others, is the one coordinating the budget all the time. He says there are over 7,000 pages of work before us. So you can appreciate what I am saying in a number of days, yes, but not today, April the 24th. The Senate, which is the upper legislative house, promised that they will pass their own budget, the budget, on the 26th, and we expected the two to come together between today and Thursday. Now we have heard from the lower house of legislature that the budget 2018 ain't going anywhere, at least until next month. And most likely, the Senate will go along the same line. We have another 72 hours to wait till Thursday and see whether the upper house will make good their own promise to pass the budget on April the 26th. Let's go to something that is very important. And the key question is whether Nigeria is ready or not. Ready for what? Ready for the deregulation of the oil sector. We've been at this for many years, but it's beginning to sound like a broken record and a musical chair that keeps going around. So what's the latest on where we are? And someone who is reminding Nigeria what we've not been able to do, or that we are not ready, is the former managing director, group managing director of the NNPC. Engineer Funsho Kukpolokun says Nigeria is not ready for full deregulation of the oil sector. This is part of what he says, and it's been reported today in the press. He says, we have been talking about oil sector deregulation since 1993. And that was still during the military days regime, isn't it? Then he says, he went to say that in 1999, when I came back into the government system, it was a key issue. A number of bodies were set up by the government. Some 25 years we have been talking of deregulating the downstream sector, yet it is still undone. Let's move on, shall we? But did you know that Nigerians living overseas sent home nearly about $22 billion last year as remittances? That's nearly the entire size of the 2018 budget of the Buhari's administration. Nigerians living around the world keep sending money in via whatever money transfer, whatever it is. And that, if you put together, according to the World Bank, stood at $22 billion last year. That's how much money you can see that is hanging out there in the pockets of your brothers, cousins, parents, children, everyone else who are brothers and sisters out there in the world. $22 billion US dollars. That's what the entire budget for 2018 is all about. And we're looking for money to how to fund the budget. So this total remittances, according to the latest numbers, was up 16.45% over the 2017 figure. But the remittances from Nigerians abroad, what we call the diaspora, declined in 2016, while the figure for 2015 was 21 billion US dollars. Let's go now into the world of business proper. Dangote Cement, Nigeria's largest company by market cap on the stock exchange, has made a few changes to the board of directors, what you call the top management positions. Now, the wife of former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, Miss Cherry Blair, is now on the board of Dangote Cement as a non-executive director, as you can expect. Also on the board now is the former Extractor CEO, Mick Davis. You know the company by the name Extractor? That was one of the world's #1 mining company with shares listed in a number of exchanges around the world, including the London Stock Exchange and Australia. That's Extractor there. Former CEO Mick Davis is also a non-executive director now on the board of Dangote Cement. And the news on the wire this morning went on to add that Joseph Makoju is now a full chief executive officer of the cement giant. Makoju was Aliko Dangote's special advisor. And you know Makoju, don't you? That was a two-time special advisor on electricity. He was also a former managing director at Lafarge, back then called WAPCO PLC. And he joined Dangote Cement many years ago as a special advisor to Aliko Dangote. And now he's the full CEO of Dangote Cement PLC. Now, Dangote Cement's main rival, Lafarge Africa, is yet in trouble. The company is yet to make its cement really solid. So we're asking the question, where is Lafarge Africa really heading? Yesterday, investors hit this struggling listed cement maker, Lafarge Africa, with sell-offs on the news of his disappointing first quarter 2018 earnings. How bad was it really? Look at the numbers there on that page on your TV screen. Earnings per share went to a negative -0.2 kobo. Return on assets employed, that's what the ROAE stands for. That is, how much does Lafarge Africa make on all the assets that the company employed in the factory, in the office, everywhere, everything called an asset. That's what's the return are you making on your assets when you employ them? That came in at a negative 5.1%. Net profit was down, mind-boggling, 138%. Lafarge Africa reported 2 billion naira as a loss in the first 3 months of 2018 because its revenue slumped 0.8%.